Hello, I'm Alex with Job's Nursery, and today we're going to talk about preparing your roses for the winter time. Now, roses in this area are fairly decent and winter hardy, except the last several winters have been very difficult on them because of the timing of when the roses have gotten hit. Here we are in early November. This rose bush is still in bloom. If we get a cold snap like we did last year with a white Thanksgiving and single digits to negative temperatures, we are going to have a lot of winter damage. This thing could get killed back down to the ground or have its crown, which is this node right here, where the rootstock meets the actual rosebush variety that we want, in this case hot cocoa. Now if that dies out, this bush is done. It's going to revert back to its rootstock and we'll end up digging it out. So to prevent that, what we're going to do is just kind of go through a few steps. First off, we're going to give it a light trimming, and the reason why we do that is just to kind of make it look decent over the winter time. I don't like taking it down to 6 inches or 12 inches at this time of the year because that's not a lot of plant to lose. Because actually having this mass does insulate the tissue somewhat and keeps the wind off of it. So what we're going to do is just kind of clean them up a bit with a pair of head shears. I'm going to do that quickly for time. You can go through and do a very neat cutting if you want to with pruners, but I'll do that when we do the final cleanup cuts in the actual spring. So first off, we're just going to cut them down just a little bit like that. Even them up. Like this side really doesn't need much. And just like that, he's trimmed. You know, off camera I've got a bucket over here to throw it in the compost pile and all of that. So, now we're ready to mulch. Now, a lot of folks will mulch with leaves or grass clippings or bark. Rock doesn't do anything. So, in my mind, I actually want to slowly feed it. Because where my yard is actually located, and I'm having a little difficulty with that, but that's temporary, is in my yard, all I have is sand. There is no nutrient value in this soil. So, we're going to use a compost. Now, I don't have a compost pile here. If you do, that's great. If it's turned properly, go ahead and use it. On my case, I'm going to have to buy it. Now, I like the Garden and Bloom line. That is actually what we carry at the nursery. For this instance, we're going to use the rose and flower planting mix because it's got a lot of nutrients primed for roses. You can also use the Harvest Supreme or the Farmyard blend as well. But I figured, let's use the rose and flower planting mix, give it a try, and see what it does for this rose bush. Because it's got a lot of things that are recommended for roses. You know, you've got chicken manure for a good feed, peat moss for soil pH, worm castings just to be another good nutrient feed. Alfalfa meal and kelp meal actually help with preventing diseases next year. And 2011, the way it was this year, we certainly can use all the help we can get. Bone meal for nice rich blooms. So I'm going to give this a try. On other roses, I'm going to try the Harvest Supreme, and I'm going to see which one comes out best. But to kind of get onto the mulching, just to show you what to do here, we're going to take my knife, cut open the bag nice and wide, and start working on it. Now this rose bush I mulched last year with a manure-based compost, the Farmyard blend. And that worked out really well. We had a nice healthy rose bush. I don't quite know what's going on with this branch here, but I'll worry about that next year with a cleanup prune. But all in all, he did really well. He had very nice dark green leaves coming out and bloomed really nice. We did have to do some feeding, mainly because I'm in sand again. So we have to feed a lot when we're in sand. And that is a lot of the Tri-Cities. So what we're going to do is just slowly pile this up around that crown. Now the crown is where all those canes and branches are coming out of. And, you know, it's basically the center of the plant. We're we're just going to mulch and mound up the compost a good 3 to 4 inches around that crown. And that's just to keep him insulated and warm. I'm going to throw a little extra around on this side in case the wind tries to take it away. But right there is how you mulch. You just pack that around, you know, a good 3 to 4 inches high, depending on how high up off the ground your bud union is, and that way it's just nice and insulated. And in the spring, we'll come back and take it down. Now, using a compost, whether it be store-bought or homemade or a friend's got it or something like that, is going to allow for that nice, rich, slow feed, because as the water hits it, the snow melts, it's all going to help break that down and send those nutrients into the soil onto those roots. So, happy winter, and we'll see you in the spring on roses on how to prune them again. Thank you, and have a great day.